It's intermission time. It's great to get out to the movies.
So I'm Megan Braun, and I host this podcast, Intermission, and today we have Kevin Lewis. Kevin, you are a director, and you're here to talk about your film, Pig Hill, but can you tell the listener a little bit more about your previous projects and who you are?
Yeah, so, well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I went to USC Film School, and I graduated, made my first movie. I was in the 90s on 35 millimeter film. I begged, borrowed, and stole. Disney helped me with the post-production of it. I shot it in, again, like 12, 13 days. It was called The Method. Sean Patrick Flannery, Robert Forster from Jackie Brown. I remember talking to Robert, and he was telling me Quentin was writing a script for him, and they would meet at Swingers, but he's like, I don't know if it's going to happen, and it did. It was awesome. It was Jackie Brown, and so yeah, I just did The Method, and so I made a lot of movies back in the 90s, early 2000s. I made a movie that Blockbuster bought. Do we even know about Blockbuster?
We do, we do.
So I'm old, okay? I'm dating myself, but so then I did that, and then I took a little break. I had some kids, and then I made a movie called Willy's Wonderland with Nick Cage, and that was a great experience. He's amazing. And then I've been making movies every year. I've been, doing stuff. And I found this Pig Hill script. It was offered to me. I really liked it. I thought I could bring something to it, and so here we are.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That was a really perfect synopsis. Was it strange taking that break and then jumping back into it?
Very much so. And, it was interesting because I would play like mental games with myself because I was like, I worked on some movies that just didn't happen, and I had some big, people, actors. Mads Mikkelsen was going to do a film with me, and
that's my celebrity crush.
Oh, he's incredible. I would talk to him on the phone like every other day about the project.
I'm one step closer to him now.
Oh, there you go. No, he's so good. Such a nice man. And so I had all these projects, and they, as Hollywood goes, and especially the indie film market. Yep. They come and they go, and and so I would play this game with myself, like, well, it's a digital world now, it's not film, okay, the critics, they're gonna hate anything you do anyways. I mean, I remember one movie I did back in the day, a guy wanted to run me over by a car, so I was like, I kept having that in it. It's like, okay, they're gonna hate me, like anything I do. So I would just play these mental games with myself, and with Willy's Wonderland, I got the script, and this is a great story, by the way.
I love a good story.
Okay, so make this movie called Malibu Spring Break. Now, my son comes home. This is way after. He's like, Dad, did you do a porn? He's at high school. And I'm like, no, son, it's called a TNA movie. It's Malibu Spring Break. And it was by Crown Entertainment. They did My Tutor and Galaxina. Mm-hmm. I wrote the script in 3 days, shot it in 9 on 35 millimeter film.
Wow.
This was, and it... It was fun. Again, every movie is a learning experience. So I did this film, and I had a extra. It was a guy who played Drunk Guy number 2. He was an actor. He never did any movies, and I was going to do an improv scene with him, and I promised to do an improv scene with him. And so we're on the set, and the producer's pushing me because I shot the wet T-shirt contest. So he's like, okay, it's a wrap. I'm like, no, we're going to do this improv. This actor named Jeremy Daniel Davis. And basically what happened was I did that, worked out great, whatever. Through the years, kept in contact, and then I didn't talk to him for a while. Had the kids, kind of out of it, whatever. He brings me Willy's Wonderland script because he's like, I always remember, Kevin, that you kept your word when we were going to do that movie and that scene. And so he brought me that. So the idea of doing Malibu Spring Break basically brought Willy's Wonderland in my life years later.
Wow.
So it shows, for me, it's like, you always work begets work.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are directors out there, God bless them. Christopher Nolan's one of them. Like, they make every movie's a masterpiece, right? Every movie's great. And that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. But I always knew that I was going to work my way up. I interned for John McTiernan back in the day, and Rennie Harlan and Linda Obst on Fisher King. And so I just learned, like, okay, I think this is going to be my path. And I always just embraced the work. I embraced that every time you do something, it's a learning experience. And we didn't have the digital technology like we have now. So getting cameras, the Super 16 cameras and things like that was hard, getting the light and grip package, like that was tough. And so like you embraced that and seized the day. My student film, it got wrecked by the lab. And
oh no.
Yeah, it got wrecked by the lab. And I was interning for John McTiernan at the time, and his wife, Donna Dubrow. And she was great. Donna was like, gave me the money to go redo it. So I reshot the whole movie, same cast, crew, everything, So so I had tenacity. I was like, okay, I gotta do that. So the idea was, when I worked with Jeremy on the Malibu Spring Break, and he remembered me all those years later, and he brought the Willy's Wonderland script to me. So just, Malibu Spring Break equals Willy's Wonderland, people.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That is so funny. Also, big Nicolas Cage fans here.
Yeah.
A long time ago, one of our guests was Daniel Noah, and he produced Mandy.
Yeah.
And Mandy's a crazy movie.
Amazing movie.
Yeah. So good. Sure. I actually was just watching for the first time. I'd never seen Face Off.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, this is
John Woo.
Yeah, another movie. Through the podcast, I'm always finding movies that I'm like, I can't believe I've never seen this. This is so up my alley. And Face Off, I'm like, that's my type of movie.
Yeah, very cool.
This is a question we ask every guest that comes on the show. There is no right or wrong answer, but if you could come up with a film that describes your life right now, whether that's tonally, emotionally, narratively, what comes to mind?
That's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely, I've got my kids and I've been married for a while and things, so I'm always like, I think I'm at the point in my life where I'm kind of reflecting a little bit. So, I brought up like The Fisher King, that's a great movie. I mean, I love Peter Weir, movies like, Witness and things like that, and You're Living Dangerously, emotional films. I think, I'm in a reflective part. I'm kind of trying to enjoy the moments.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to say maybe A Dead Poet Society, Seize
Cool.
the Day,
Yeah.
My daughter, she loves that movie, and just live life,
Mm-hmm.
But right before Willy's, I went to the hospital for COVID. It was really bad. I almost died.
Oh my God.
I had my 2 blood polyps in my heart, and I was saying goodbye to my wife and my kids.
Oh my God.
I was this close to being the respirator. I mean, it was crazy. And I just realized, like, when I got out, I was like, look, I'm living life to the fullest, so.
As you should.
Yeah.
How are you feeling now?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, because you know how some people have long COVID? Yeah.
Yes. That's the dreaded word, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what's interesting is, before that, I was never sick. I mean, I was sick, flu in here, but not, I never broke bones. That was the first time I was really in a hospital. And it was like, you don't know till you know.
Yeah.
Wow. And my mom was interesting. She was in a hit-and-run car accident when I was a younger kid, like around 10. Never caught the guy who did it. Her face got smashed clean off, lost her left eye. She had like 75 surgeries. Yeah, so growing up with that, that's kind of how I got into movies, of course, was like, escaping that world.
Oh, my God.
And trying to, write my own stories, write my own narrative, live in my own fantasy world where I can control things, right? I could, this person does this, or this person dies, or this. I could control it. And I think with growing up with my mother, that kind of really affected me. And that's why I really dived into like comic books and fiction. And I read J.R. Tolkien and novels and Catcher in the Rye and Peter Pan and Star Wars and Raiders and 2001 and Evil Dead. I mean, it just all of it, consumed it. Just loved the fantasy world. So,
speaking of being reflective, I mean, it seems like you are someone who's very introspective. Like sometimes I have people that come on and I know that they love films because they say they love films and they work in films, but sometimes I can tell like they don't know why they love certain films or what brought them to this point. Yeah. And so it's interesting that you have that through line that's brought you to where you are now.
This is a great story. So when I was young, they had the video store opened up, and my mom gave me some money to go get some milk and eggs at the store. Mm-hmm. And I remember riding my bike down, but I hit the video store first. It was right next to the supermarket, and they had Evil Dead and a Nightmare on Elm Street. And I was like, they were just calling me. And so I looked at the money, I looked at the VHS cassettes, and I rented them. And so I go back home, and I was like, my mom was like, where's the milk and eggs and stuff? I was like, well, they kind of ran out. The store ran out. But here we have Evil Dead and Nightmare on Elm Street. Of course, my sister's like, he's a movie addict. He needs to be grounded. But so, yeah, I've always loved films, you know.
That's a funny story.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to just say, speaking of COVID, I never watched Eddington until yesterday on my flight.
Yeah.
I don't think I realized how literal that film was about like the exact moment we were in time.
Totally.
I wonder how it's going to age. I know obviously it came out like this is typically on the podcast we're talking about films that like have more recently come out, but I just literally yesterday was watching it.
But it's funny you say that because I think that could be its own genre, like the COVID genre, right?
Yeah, that's so
you
true.
You watch these movies and you're like, it was that period of time. I mean, think about it. These years later, you know, when you guys have kids and things that my kids are going to be talking about that.
Yeah.
That's like the 9/11.
Yeah.
You know, that's just, you know, elemental to what happened in people's lives. And that affected everybody.
So true.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty intense that we lived through it. And thank God we're on the mend here.
Now we're going to get into more general movie taste questions.
Yeah.
What's the last film that made you feel something unexpected, whether that's creatively or emotionally?
I like the Paul Greengrass movie. Was it the bus that's on fire?
I don't know. You can look it up if you can't think of it.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. But that was really good. That was emotional because to me it was like, okay, this could have been a movie of the week, thing. But he's such a great filmmaker. It was very emotional, especially with the kids, and heroic what this guy did based on a true story. I mean, that's what I loved about it.
Wait, did it come out recently?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think it's on Apple.
Yeah, someone was just telling me to watch this.
Yes, it's really good. You're gonna love it.
Okay.
It's very good. Matthew McConaughey's fantastic in it. The
Yes.
Lost Bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even remember who told me to watch this, but this is good that
it's
I'm
really well made,
Okay.
and it is very emotional, and it's the human condition. And back in the day, that movie would be in the theater. We go see it on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Now it's on Apple.
The experience is completely different.
Completely different. And I get it. Think evolve or die. This is where we are. But it makes me kind of sad. That's why with my movies, I always try to do like practical effects, and I kind of have that vintage mentality, especially like with Willy's Wonderland, and even Pig Hill and stuff, is like trying to make like these midnight movies that, I would drive 2 hours to see back in the day.
Yeah.
So I keep that kind of to the heart of cinema, how I grew up,
Yeah, I was just watching a video on Instagram of just behind the scenes of Jurassic Park and how it's so much easier for the actor to emote when they're like getting to rest and touch a physical being and it just makes the experience that much more genuine. And just viewing it, it's just such a different viewing experience.
It's so interesting. Jurassic Park came out, and I remember going to Universal Studios. They were shooting it, and I saw the T-Rex and the soundstage and Stan Winston's. It was amazing. And, that movie now for your generation, that's like Jaws. That's like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right? And so... and I remember it coming out, and it was like, I worked on Last Action Hero, and those were the two movies that were gonna, I interned for that. They were gonna combat one another, and Jurassic Park, was just huge then. But it is incredible how that movie has taken another life. I mean, it was what it did for VFX, just groundbreaking, right? But just in terms of audience now, and it's amazing how many sequels they've gotten out of it, and it just keeps on going. And what's interesting too is like dinosaurs; they never get old. You even have Godzilla and all these things, but even my boys, like, they love dinosaurs still. So it's very cool.
When you watch movies for pleasure, what does your instinct pull you towards, and how does that differ from the stories you like to tell?
Always the heart and emotion and what's going on with the characters, right? Like that, to me, that's what pulls me. Now, that's interesting what you say about different, because I try to infuse that on my films, because I think at the end of the day we're emotional creatures, and I'm always about discovering, trying the human condition. And so even with Willy's Wonderland, that was in my mind doing it. So for me, that's always there.
Mm-hmm.
How it differs, though, is, again, I love dramas. Peter Weir, we talked about, like, and my first movie was more of a drama and things like that. But I've gone into this more kind of aesthetic horror field, right? And I love horror, and they're the best fans ever. But horror to me is good drama, you know. So you could take, like, The Shining is a horror, psychological horror, but it's good drama. Horror is interesting because it's a playground where you could play with the aesthetic. You know, it's psychological horror, body horror, sci-fi horror, right? So you can mix genres and stuff. I like it because you can play with the aesthetic, so you can do interesting shots and different looks, and the cinematography could be a little more extreme. But, so to answer your question, what's different is I do like more of human drama. A movie like Tape that Ethan Hawke did with Richard Linklater, right? Or Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. You know, so that kind of would differ because I guess, you know, when you look at my work, you'd be like, well, you know, he would, you know, a Willy's or something is very different from Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, right? But I love those kind of films, you know, Serpico, right? So, you know, so that what draws me into it. But it's also maybe different from some of the movies I've done. But I always have it in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
It's always about the characters and the connection between people.
And I bet, the references are less literal. They're more just the impact that it's giving.
It pushes me when I make a film just to be like the love of that and say, okay, and try to infuse it when I can. And, you know, again, when you get a movie and it's like, okay, well, this is, I got to tell what the story is. It's interesting on films too, because especially with the low budget movies, but they kind of guide you on this journey. Like you always have a plan, right? Until they say till you get punched in the face and, you know, God laughs and all that. But it's true. It's like you plan, you prep. But then the movie kind of takes on a life of its own.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to be open to that and to listen to, I call it the film gods. You kind of have to listen to it and be quiet and kind of hear where the movie wants to go. And then you kind of need it. If you fight it, it's not going to be well. You know, it's not going to turn out well. So,
do any films come to mind that you initially didn't go see in theaters or you weren't wanting to watch, but years later it clicked for you and you understood the appeal?
Well, I mean, I'm just going to tell you years later, okay, because I just saw a recent one. Like the new Predator. So my kids wanted to see it, and I love the original Predator.
Yeah.
Again, I'm dating myself, but I snuck in with my friend, and he was in trouble with his parents. He was grounded. He wasn't supposed to be in the theater. His mom knew where we were, and so right when the movie, thank God it was ending, but she came and yanked him right out
from the chair.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So Predator is like, you know, it's one of my favorite movies. And I interned for John McTiernan, which was awesome. But we saw the new Predator, and I didn't want to see it.
Yeah.
But my kids wanted to see it, and I was like, okay. So like a teenage Predator, you know what? I did like Prey though.
Yeah.
So I think he's a really good director, David Trachtenberg, I believe. But that really did surprise me because I really did like it. I was like, man. It had emotion. It had what we're all talking about.
Yeah.
And it was just really visually entertaining and stunning. And every shot looks like it's got a digital effect on it.
Yeah.
But it was really good. So that just recently.
Cool.
And I'm going to think now back a movie that I missed in theaters. I was like, man, I should have seen 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Such a good movie.
And Team America.
Uh-huh.
You know, those are the movies a friend of mine, my friend Scott, he's like, you got to see these. And I was like, really? Team America? You know, I was like, oh my God, the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
Right? Come on.
That's so funny. Great answer. What's a film you wish you could have been on set for just to understand how the magic works?
This is a good story. So my friends and I'm working at Sony, you know, for Linda Opes, the interning for her. And they're shooting, they shot Hook there. And then they shot Bram Stoker's Dracula. And so we're excited because we're going to sneak on Bram Stoker's Dracula. And Coppola had the big fish tank that he was directing out of and stuff. And I remember us showing up on set, and they immediately were like, what are you doing here? And I had no idea because it's like, now I know. It's like when you make a film, it's like you're a family. Everyone knows everybody.
Oh,
so
yeah.
immediately when some stranger shows up, it's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
You know? So just to throw that in, that's
funny.
what happened. But a movie that I would have loved to have been, man, I love that movie Drive.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
And there's I think on YouTube's amazing. It has like behind the scenes B-roll on all this stuff. And it has it on Drive. And you just sit there and watch Nicholas Winding Refn and Ryan Gosling and Bryan Cranston and how they're working the shots and the dolly shots. And it's just amazing. So Drive, Heat.
Yeah. I
mean, they just come to my Blade Runner. Mm-hmm. That would be amazing.
Is there a film you revisit not for inspiration, but because it feels like home base?
Oh, well, I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, I know that's a generic answer, but Raiders is interesting for me. There's two movies for me growing up in terms of filmmaking. Like Star Wars, I felt like God just said, and there is Star Wars. Let there be light, right? Like, there's no one made this movie. There were no lights or cameras. This just existed, right? Mm-hmm. But with Raiders, that was the first movie where I started seeing pace. I started seeing editing. I started seeing shots, cutting, action, everything. So that to me revisits because that feels like home. Mm-hmm. And then of course Evil Dead. Mm-hmm. Saw what Sam Raimi did with the camera, what you could do with the camera and be creative and out there. So those are the two movies that really feel like. The business is so tough, right? Like sometimes you get depressed, like you're working on a project that doesn't happen. It's like, why am I doing this? Why? And I watch those kind of movies and I'm like, okay, I love movies. And that's why, it was interesting. I was watching Guillermo del Toro the other day. He was talking about Frankenstein, did a behind the scenes on Netflix. And he says, as a director, you're always directing because, when you go to the DMV, you're watching people. You're watching how they interact. A mother with their daughter. Do they squeeze the hand? Do they do that? I was like, wow, that is so interesting. He's fascinating. And I was like, you know what? He's right. Because directing, like we just talked about, is about the human condition. So people are all around. So you get inspiration from all that, So, but yeah, I think those two movies for me, definitely feel like home.
Quick question, the Guillermo del Toro BTS, was that like a segment on Netflix, like in tandem with the movie?
I think it's on YouTube.
Oh, got it.
It just comes up,
Got it.
Good old algorithm just showed up on my feed.
Cool.
I was like, oh, this looks good.
Yeah, I love watching. I do that a lot, watching like behind the scenes of films and stuff. It's so fun.
Well, see, back in the day, before even DVDs, it's like when I was at film school.
Yeah, because my reference point is the DVDs. What is that
commentary.
Called? Yeah, the commentary.
Yeah. So at film school was amazing because, like you talked about John Woo, Face Off, right? He came to speak with Hard Target, and David Fincher came. All these amazing directors, and they would come and speak, and you would go to class and you'd hear these directors speak. Then DVDs come. Now they have commentary. So now you're watching movies, and Ridley Scott's like one of my favorite commentators. You just listen to him, and it's just, you can do laundry, do whatever, but you like listening to him, And it's like, it's a film school in itself, Now you've got YouTube, like I said, Drive, B-roll. Yeah. Look it up. It's there. You could just watch it. So there's so many things now, great things at your disposal, filmmaking to learn, the craft, So yeah, it's exciting.
This will be a good transition into your film, but what movie shaped how you think about monsters, folklore, or the unseen, since you're kind of in that world right now?
Well, again, like The Shining, right? Like Jack Torrance becomes a monster, doesn't he? Right? So that, of course, Evil Dead, monsters POV with the camera, right? I've always loved, of course, the Universal movies, Frankenstein, Dracula, all that was amazing, and feeling for the monsters. Sometimes you're rooting for them more than the humans. Yeah. It's interesting. Another movie that really freaked me out as a kid, it was a made-for-TV movie. It was called Burnt Offerings. Okay. And it had Oliver Reed in it and Karen Black. Okay. And it's about this family who takes over this house. Betty Davis, I believe.
Oh, cool.
But it had this family that takes over this house, and they got to feed the old lady that's up in the attic and stuff, and what happens and changes them and everything. And when we're talking about monsters, again, it's more like The Shining. It's the human monster. That's what interests me.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to get into your film, Pig Hill. Okay. I have a little synopsis here. Okay. Carrie has been fascinated by the local legend of the pig people of Pig Hill, revolting creatures who breed and cause havoc in the area. As the 10th woman goes missing, Carrie can't stop thinking that there could be more to these stories. And it's starring Rainey Qualley, Shane West, Shiloh Fernandez, and Kirby Griffin. It's funny, when I first started watching it, I had forgotten that I was watching a movie with Rainey is that how
Yeah.
you say it? Yeah, Rainey Qualley, and she was talking, and I'm like, wow, it sounds so much like Margaret. And then I realized.
There you go.
And so the world premiere, this premiered at FrightFest in the UK, and then it's also based off of a book.
Yeah, based off Pig that Nancy Williams wrote. Yeah.
Because you said this was like a script that was offered to you, or how did that work?
Yeah, basically, a friend of mine was working on it. She worked on Willy as Rainey Qualley. She's great, and then she introduced me to the producers, and they had this script that Jared Burris wrote, and he did a great job. And so, yeah, I read it, and I was like, wow. And especially the third act is what really was like, I got to do this movie. And then it's based on a book. I read the book. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Then finding out about the lore, that it's real. You go to that town, and it's like, it's crazy. Like, you go to the bars, the restaurants, and they've got missing women photos there. Like, it's really going, like, that's why people are like, what's going on? It's a small town. So it's like, this legend, this lore has been there for decades. Kids have been growing up with it, and campfire tales and all that.
When you went, did you tell people you were making the film?
Yeah, they were stoked about it. Yeah,
cool.
They were really cool, people in Meadville. So, yeah, and so it was just like this legend and everything. So, okay, that's exciting to me.
Yeah.
And what's exciting to me, too, is like the MacGuffin of the pig people, right? And is, the third act. Really what got me, and the twist, and I was like, okay, now I got to do this movie.
Yeah. Was there a moment during production when you realized the film was becoming something different or bigger than what you'd imagined while you initially read the script?
When you're doing a film, it's kind of like you're so in it, right? And so, you're building these worlds and things like that. And you're trying, working with all the different department heads. And so the idea is that, you want to do it this way. It's like, well, can you get this? Like, it was like a little thing. Like, I wanted fire for the swill stuff, and it's like, well, it's a fire hazard, and blah, blah, blah. So it was like, but, trying to push those things. And it's like, okay, we got it, so kind of really zeroing down on what was really necessary to make the movie. What was cool was that Ted, the producer, he had all the people in Meadville. They were the extras in the movie, and they all helped with locations. And the locations are really close to one another. So it was like a studio backlot. Then I go to the bar. Then I'd go over here to the restaurant over here. Then we built Swill's Cave and the cages in a church, the basement of a swimming pool. So it was really cool to go and bounce around.
Yeah.
And there weren't that, location moves weren't huge.
Because that's a position as someone to be a location scout for films. So does that person like go to a town and they just make connections? I never understood how that works.
Yeah, they locate. If you get a good location scout, they know the people. Oh, so and so, was maybe renting their homes on this, or we know this person. They go and they take pictures.
Yeah, and
then they show you, and you're like, oh, I like this, and then you go see it. You're like, oh my God, this is not what the picture was.
Yeah,
or it's even better. You're like, oh my God, this is amazing. So that's a skill in itself.
Yeah, Was there a character that surprised you most once actors began inhabiting them?
I mean, they were all fantastic. I mean, Rainey, she was just incredible. I knew the movie had to be about Carrie and her POV and what she's going through. And she just did such a phenomenal job. She had a great kind of transcendence about her character and how she approached it. Shane, he was such a great partner to make this movie with. He's done so many movies, and he knew the drill, and he just came in. And
was Shane the brother?
No, Shane was Andy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the brother, Shiloh, was just phenomenal. I love working with him.
What emotional residue do you hope the film leaves on people when the credits roll?
Wow. Well, again, the third act, it's a twist. Things are going on. I mean, there's a lot happening, again, talk about a gaslighting culture, right? And people manipulating other people and things like that. And that's kind of what I want people to take away from is like, again, we talk about monsters, but to me, monster is really mankind. I mean, what blows me about mankind is like we can be so incredible, build incredible things, be kind to one another, love each other. It's great. On the same token, be destructive, destroy, and it goes a lot quicker, right? takes a long time to build something up. It takes a second to destroy it.
Yep.
And so the idea is that the monster within, the idea of humanity has a lot of layers to it, and it's kind of like, well, you see it this way, they see it this way. Well, which way is right? Which way, And so there's a lot of that going on at the end of this movie, and confusion, and and then also what I love about it is kind of a female empowerment. I have a daughter, and it's like I love the idea that she takes charge.
Speaking of like YouTube and whatnot, if someone finishes Pig Hill and immediately goes down the rabbit hole, what do you hope they start researching or thinking about?
Well, I know there's like TikTok videos and YouTube videos of going to actually really Pig Hill and then talking about it. I know there's a YouTube video of someone saying they learned about the pig people when they were young, and so there's a lot going on there. So yeah,
it's fascinating.
Yeah,
I feel like when I'm in a rabbit hole, I go to Reddit. Like Reddit
really?
is like where
Reddit's
well, it's weirdos,
Yeah.
but it's interesting.
I know.
Can you share a scene that was simple on page but more layered to execute? Like, what was the most challenging scene in creating this film?
Well, you could look at the ending again, simple on page, a lot of dialogue, but what's going on between those with the characters, right? And the emotional. And for me, as a director, I think one of the key things you need to do with actors especially is like you need to create a safe space for them to work. And so it's got to be a space where they can expose themselves emotionally, right? And that's a tough thing to do. And so there's got to be trust built in there. So that final act, it was a lot of talking about it, how it's going to go down, how I'm going to do it. I get technical sometimes, like, okay, here's the shots, because I just want them to know, But it's like, okay, now you know the shots, so forget the shots. Let's talk about the emotion and what's going on. What are the actions? What do your characters need, right? And all that. And, Shiloh and Shaney were just amazing, and Shane and all of them. Max as Ethan and Jeff as Reggie, they're all just fantastic.
This is my final question for Pig Hill.
Yeah.
If Pig Hill were in conversation with one other film that like spiritually informs it, or it feels like, sometimes I ask people on the podcast, like if they were to have a double feature with their film and another film, what would you pair it with?
A Mulholland Drive.
Totally. I actually did read
mind.
it before you came in. I was reading like someone wrote a review on the film, and they said it had like a Lynchian feel to it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, David Lynch is one of my favorite filmmakers. Definitely was channeling him, making that movie, and The Cure.
Cure's so good.
Yeah, but I'm not worthy to be in with David Lynch. So, but yeah, I mean, Mulholland Drive comes to mind.
Since we're wrapping the section of your film, can you plug where the listener can see the film? And because I believe it comes out on December 9th.
Yes, comes out December 9th. It's going to be on Amazon and iTunes, so you can get it digitally there. And then I think it's going to go to like Screenbox and Cineverse.
Okay, sweet.
And Cineverse, did Terrifier, and they're doing Silent Night, Deadly Night. They're great, so they're releasing it.
Very cool. Now we're going to play a little game called This or That.
Uh-oh.
No right or wrong answers. It's more just like,
Okay.
I would say your preferences when making films.
Okay.
So this is tone or plot. You can either have a perfectly tight plot or a haunting atmospheric tone. Which would you prioritize?
Tone.
Okay. Pacing. Long lingering takes that build unease, or rapid fire cuts that disorient and shock.
Long lingering.
Effects. Your next film can only use 100% practical effects, or only early 2000s CGI.
Practical.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Character or world. Fully developed characters with minimal setting, or a fully immersive world with minimal character depth.
Wow. I want to say world, but I'm going to go with characters because at the end of the day, that's what you're watching.
Okay, ending style. Ambiguous, unsettling ending, or neat, emotionally satisfying ending.
Ambiguous.
Sound design. Silence as your main tool, or intense layered score.
Intense layered score.
Genre approach. Lean heavily into horror conventions, or subvert every expectation for a unique avant-garde vibe.
Subvert.
Film influences. Channel one director you admire fully, or combine elements of three directors in your own way. I feel like that one's obviously the combining.
Combine.
Yeah. Audience reaction. Shock them with a single unforgettable scene, or keep them on edge with constant creepiness and unease?
Edge.
Edge, keep them on edge, yeah. I was thinking when I think of single unforgettable scene, what comes to mind, which is kind of random, is Immaculate.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
Immaculate.
ending.
The ending, like
Yep.
that is like
That
to
was
me like
intense.
yeah, because it wasn't a consistent like it was a consistent unease, but I would
Yeah.
say mostly the movie was
He
like pretty
ramped it
chill,
up.
and then
Yeah.
it was that.
Wham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I had for us.
Okay.
I want to thank you for coming on. I had a great time chatting with you
Had a great time.
and hearing about your movie and seeing your movie because I got the screener.
You know, I've got 3 movies coming out. Also, I've got a movie called Oak. I don't know when that's going to be released, but we finished that, and then I have a movie called Misdirection that's coming out in February with Olga Kurylenko and Frank Grillo. It's in the vein of like a Michael Mann crime thriller movie, and then I have a movie called Driver with Jeremy Piven and Colleen Camp and Caitlin Kemp, and that's really fun. It takes place in the 90s. It's about this driver that picks up 6 kids in a limo and is supposed to take them to prom, but he does not. So, and that's in the vein of more of like a Willy's Wonderland, fun horror.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I'm in post on right now. So
Sweet. Booked
exciting.
and busy.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on, and now it's time to get lost.
Good evening.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. To stay in touch, follow our Instagram page at It's Intermission Time and share with your friends. As always, Intermission is produced by Jazeel Chu and Olivia Deaton, and of course, hosted by yours truly, Megan Braun. This episode is brought to you by The Synagogue.